What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay Pounds, and we got a really cool video for you guys this week. But before I tell you what that is, please like the channel or like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Comment down below. Um, Make sure you guys comment down below if you disagree with any of these players that I'm about to tell you. This week's video, I'm going to do maybe one or two more of these throughout the season. This is going to be an early look at the 2022 rookie class. Um, I haven't done a ton of homework on these guys yet, but I have done enough that I feel confident putting this out there as kind of my rankings in a sense. I did the top three quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and then the top tight end. So that way you get a top 10 um, type of list. You got 10 players to look at, and these are the 10 kids that I'm expecting to make an impact. Obviously, we're going to have some early declarations for the draft and things like that. I didn't count any of that in. I strictly went to the major sites, looked at big boards, and I only picked players that were on all the big boards. So if somebody thinks someone's going to come out early and the next site didn't, they're not going to be on here. That's just I just wanted to be as consistent as possible. I wanted you guys to be able to look up information on these players and just know that there's a shot that they're going to be on your team next year, and it's not because there's not a shot that they're not going to be on your team next year because they'll be back in college. I only got players that will 100% be in the NFL next year, according to these websites. But that being said, guys, I think we are going to go ahead and jump right into it. Right before we do, though, like I said, make sure you guys comment down below. If you disagree with any of these players at all, let me know. Let me know who you would have put in their place. Let me know why, things like that. We can have a great conversation down in the comment section on each of these players if you guys would like. But let's go ahead and get right into it. We are going to start with the quarterbacks, as always. Quarterbacks are dynasty owner gold, so that's where we're going. Up first, we got Malik Willis out of Liberty University. His 2021 stats are 121 pass attempts, or 121 completions on 183 pass attempts, 1,679 yards, 17 TDs, and 6 interceptions. He also has a bunch of yards on the ground. Malik Willis is a very talented kid. He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. I'm going to give you guys a pro comp for every one of these guys. Malik Willis's pro comparison is Josh Allen. I believe Malik Willis is a little bit more athletic. Josh Allen has a little bit stronger of an arm, but they are very similar. I expect a very similar path out of Willis. I don't expect him to come out and be Justin Herbert. I expect him to take a little bit of time to figure out the NFL, but when he does look out, he is going to be a QB1 for a long time for fantasy. Especially, oh my goodness, if this guy gets put into a good system that plays to his strengths and actually lets him learn a little bit and work through these accuracy issues. He's improved a ton from 2020 to 2021. He's up to 66% completion percentage. It was nowhere near that in 2020. So a huge step forward for Malik Willis, and that's really what you're looking for out of these young kids. As long as they're taking steps forward and continuing to progress, you're going to have a solid player. So we got, like I said, guys, Malik Willis is our number one quarterback. Very likely he could be the number one pick taken in the 2022 draft. If he continues to play the way he has been and a quarterback needy team is there, I see no reason that anybody's going ahead of Malik Willis, guys. I really don't. Just with what he can do with his legs and arm strength alone, I think that he's just oozing with potential. Just like Mel Kiper used to say about Josh Allen, the same can be said about Malik Willis, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. After Malik Willis, the number 2 quarterback I got here, Sam Howell, North Carolina. 2021 stats, he has 129 completions on 211 attempts, 1,851 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. His NFL comparison for me is Baker Mayfield. They're both shorter players. They have more mobility than you think. They're both extremely accurate. They both play with a very, very big chip on their shoulder. Both of them just tough as nails. I will say that about Baker, man. That dude's tough. I I don't like him all that much. He can be a serviceable quarterback. He can win games, but he has to have the right people around him. He's got to have the right system and things like that. You know, for me, if I want what I want in my franchise quarterback, I need them to be able to adapt to different things. I don't want to have to adapt to them. And Sam Howell, I think you're going to have to adapt everything around him. You're going to have to play to his strengths, similar to they do with Baker. You know, play action, things like that. But that being said, Howell's best quality is his accuracy. 60% completion percentage or better, and every year he's played college football. He started as a true freshman, absolutely lit it up as a true freshman. Dude went nuts as a true freshman. It was incredible. So if somebody can tap back into that, you know, he could be a very, very good prospect. My main worry with him is the Tar Heels offense isn't all that pro ready. You know, it doesn't get you ready for the next level. So that could be a little bit of an issue, but that may just be a learning curve. We'll see how it plays out for Sam Howell. Sam Howell, North Carolina Tar Heels, guys. That's our number 2 quarterback right now. At number 3, we have Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. His 2021 stats are 140 completions on 207 attempts, 913 yards, 15 touchdowns to only 1 interception. His professional NFL comparison for me is Derek Carr. And the reason I chose Derek Carr, guys, is both of them are just very, very, very smart with the football. You're not going to get many turnovers out of these guys. You're not going to get dumb, stupid throws out of these guys. And they're not going to take a whole lot of chances and risks. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it just depends on who you have throwing the ball. If it's Jameis Winston with Tampa, you know, obviously there's going to be a lot of good and a lot of bad. But Matt Corral's not going to throw interceptions like that. He seems to me like he's this year's Zach Wilson. He's rising up draft boards very, very fast, and he's in a pro ready system with Lane Kiffin. He's playing very, very well. He's playing in the SEC against good defenses. I mean, the cards are all there for him to make a nice run, and I'm expecting him to be honest. When I was watching his film, the main thing that stood out to me, you know, I seen 4.840, so I'm not expecting much of a running quarterback at all. And the dude's actually not that bad. He is a lot more athletic than you would think for somebody that ran that slow in a 40, and he makes the right play almost every time. I think an offensive coordinator is going to love working with him. I don't know if he has necessarily the body to be a superstar quarterback, but I think he can be a serviceable quarterback of some kind, maybe a backup. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's a starter level yet, but I wasn't putting Spencer Rattler above him. So Matt Corral, number 3, guys. After that, we have the running backs. Up first for running backs, we have Breece Hall, Iowa State. 2021 stats are 155 carries, 818 yards, and 11 touchdowns. His NFL comparison for me is David Montgomery. And I say that lightly. David Montgomery is pretty underrated. I don't think he quite gets the credit he deserves, especially in the offense that he's in. You know, we've seen this offense look really, really bad since Montgomery's been out. But Montgomery is very talented. He's a very good pass catching back. He runs between the tackles well. He has good vision, and he has some decent elusiveness that most people don't think he has. And Breece Hall has all of that except for he's more physical. And I honestly think he's a little bit better in the passing game. There's no doubt in my mind that Breece Hall will be the number 1 running back taken. There's no doubt in my mind that he'll be the number one running back taken in fantasy drafts. He's just the full package. The only slight concern I've seen is there's times that he just doesn't try to block or it just doesn't look like he's fully invested at times as a pass blocker, and that may keep him off the field a little bit to start his NFL career. But I don't see that playing out very long. He's too talented not to work out. He'll definitely get you a few years at worst. You know, he's going to get you a year or two as a starter in the NFL. But I think he's going to have a pretty solid NFL career. And as I said, his NFL comp's David Montgomery. If he plays anything like that, it's not a bad pick. After Breece Hall, guys, we have Isaiah Spiller. Number 2, Isaiah Spiller. He plays for Texas A&M. His 2021 stats are 123 carries, 761 yards, and 5 touchdowns. My NFL comparison for Isaiah Spiller is Arian Foster. Um, this one I just couldn't put. How do I want to work? I just couldn't put a name on it when I was thinking of a comparison for Spiller, and so I googled it, and the only one that really made sense was Arian Foster. He's not the pass catcher that Foster was, but he's working on it. He's got 21 catches this year, 179 yards and a touchdown out of the backfield, and that's big time for him. He's a very, very violent runner, man. This guy looks for contact, but he's also very patient. It's a very weird combination, but it works out really well for him. He's averaged 5.7 yards per carry overall and throughout his college career. It's 3 seasons. In 2021, he's got 6.2 yards per clip, guys. That's phenomenal in the SEC. PFF has this guy as their number 4 ranked running back. I couldn't get there with him. He's my number 2 guy. I could possibly see my number 3 guy, who we'll talk about here in a second, passing Spiller, but right now, man, Spiller is looks like the real deal. I could see him being a 3-down back in the NFL, especially if he continues to get a little bit better out of the backfield catching the ball. All right, guys, after Isaiah Spiller, we have Zach Charbonnet. I think that's how you say it. He's out of UCLA. His 2021 stats: 123 carries, 124 carries. Sorry, I was reading Isaiah Spiller's stats there. 124 carries, 732 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Very similar to Isaiah Spiller, though. His NFL comparison for me is David Johnson. I think David Johnson's a better pass catcher, but this year Charbonnet's really, really kind of showed out a little bit in his pass catching. I hope I'm not looking at the wrong stat. Yeah. He showed out quite a bit in his pass catching, and if he had more tape, I think he may be up there with Breece Hall, but he just has this lone season at UCLA. He started out in Michigan. He's got a little bit of tape there. But he transferred to UCLA and sat out a year. And now the second he put that Bruins jersey on, guys, he just looked phenomenal. He ran all over Hawaii, and then the critics, obviously it's Hawaii, who cares? And then he did it against LSU, and he's just been doing it all year. He had a bad week last week, but I don't see anybody passing him at number 3. I think these are the clearly the top 3 guys. Ely was up there from Ole Miss, but I just don't see him getting above these 3 guys. And then somebody may pop up that declares a little early, so we'll see on that. But like I said, Zach Charbonnet, man, he's violent. He's tough to bring down. Just a good overall good overall running back. He plays for Chip Kelly, so Chip Kelly's put out some decent running backs in his time. So we'll see how it works out for Zach Charbonnet. But right now, he is my number 3 guy. We got Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, and Zach Charbonnet as the top 3 running backs. Let's go ahead and get into the receivers, and then we'll hit the tight end after that. Our first receiver is Garrett Wilson, Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Make sure you put the in front of it. 2021 stats: 36 catches, 605 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's not right. He's got more touchdowns than that. I gotta look that up now. But his NFL comparison for me is going to be. Hang on one second. Let me type that. Mic is in my way. His NFL comparison is going to be Michael Thomas. Yes, the Michael Thomas from Ohio State. I couldn't help it. It's probably the Ohio State bias, but nonetheless, they both they play out of the slot somewhat at Ohio State, and they both have incredible hands. Garrett Wilson is one of the most polished route runners I've ever seen in college. He reminds me of Jerry Jeudy a lot from a route running standpoint, or Amari Cooper. They're all phenomenal route runners, and his route tree is just phenomenal for his age. He came onto the scene as a true freshman at Ohio State and just exploded onto the scene. He's tore it up every year he's played. In 2020 with the COVID-19 shortened season, the kid had 43 catches, 723 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Phenomenal. And then I can't remember exactly how many games they played, and I don't know if that stat right there is with the playoffs included. But nonetheless, in a shortened season, 723 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's a great year. I don't see anybody passing this guy as the number one receiver in the draft class, and I love the next two guys. I think any given year, any one of these three guys would go number one. If Garrett Wilson wasn't here, you could make an argument for either one of these next two, but I just don't think either one of them. I don't think you can get either one of them ahead of Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is excellent at high pointing the ball. He's an excellent athlete. He's just overall excellent everything he does on the football field. And then maybe my Ohio State bias showing out, but I encourage you to go look at some of his videos and things like that, and I promise you'll come away pretty surprised. After that, we have Chris Olave, the Ohio State University. 2021 stats are 32 catches, 518 yards, and 8 touchdowns. His NFL comparison is Will Fuller, but if Will Fuller ran better routes. Olave is a very, very good route runner. Both of these Ohio State guys, it's like they learned it from each other or something, but both of them are excellent route runners. Chris Olave is an absolute burner. He will beat you off the line with his little twitchiness that he does. His little like stutter step, and he's just gone. I've watched a ton of his snaps and from college as being a Buckeyes fan. It's impressive how just fluid he looks moving around on the field. He runs past people with absolute ease, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I put in the article, he looks like a gazelle running around in a field of daisies when he's on the football field, and he really does. He just gets out of the way of people. It doesn't ever seem like anybody's bumping into him, nothing like that. Nobody's setting any type of hard blocks on him. He's always, if they do get him, it's just a slight little chip, and it's impressive how he just manages to contour his body away around things. And I think he's going to be excellent. Him and Garrett Wilson both, and the next guy I'm going to talk about here. Honestly, I think all three of these guys are going to be very good receivers for quite a while in the NFL. After Chris Olave, we have, last but not least, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. His 2021 stats are 42 catches, 717 yards, and 6 touchdowns. His NFL comparison for me is Julio Jones. He is fast, absolutely fast. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, and the dude runs. From what I've seen, it's projected anywhere from a 4.35 to about a 4.5. It's less than that, but in that range. And at 6'3", 225 pounds, that's unheard of. He has 10 1/4 inch hands. He wears a 5XL glove, guys. 5XL, that's a massive hand. He's not dropping anything. The dude is athletic as it gets. He high points the ball just as good as Garrett Wilson does, maybe a little bit better. He's just not as refined as Garrett Wilson or Olave yet, and that's why he's at number 3. But like I said, in any other draft class, this kid could go number 1, no problem. He is a guaranteed first rounder, and outside of injury, obviously. And I just don't see any scenario where he doesn't go in the first round. Like I said, his NFL comparison's Julio Jones. You don't get much better than that, guys. All right, guys, last but not least, we're moving to the tight end. I only have one of these guys. That way I could make it an even 10 for you. But we got Jalen Wydermyer. I think that's how you say it. It's either Weidermeyer or Wydermyer. His 2021 stats for Texas A&M, 25 catches, 353 yards, and 4 touchdowns. His NFL comparison for me is Jonnu Smith or Martellus Bennett. It's more of Jonnu Smith. he's a little bit better at catching the football than Jonnu Smith is. That's why I put Martellus Bennett in there. But he's every bit as athletic as these guys. He's probably Jonnu's probably got a little bit of athleticism on him, but Wiedermeyer's got that little bit better hands. I don't think he's ever going to be one of these Travis Kelce, Darren Waller types, Kyle Pitts. He's not going to be somebody like that. He is excellent at blocking. If he had a little bit more size, honestly, he could play at line. He might even be like a backup lineman in the NFL. He's that good. But the production as a tight end in college it's a little bit easier to come by than it is in the NFL. He's gonna have a learning curve, and like I said, I don't think his ceiling is high enough to get to the Darren Waller types of the world, but he can be a Jonnu Smith. He can get you, he'll be a nice bye week tight end or something like that. But I don't see a tight end that stands out in this class, and Jalen Wiedemeyer or Jeremy Ruckert from the Buckeyes. Those are the only two that would make sense as your number one right now. And I went with Wiedemeyer from A&M. That's all I got, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a ton of fun getting to dig into these rookies. I don't never get into them this early, and I'm gonna start. This was a ton of fun for me, like I said, and I feel like I got a little bit of a leg up now. I've started on the 22 class, and now I can start looking at other guys in the 22 class. I got a pretty firm understanding on these guys now. I can watch them the rest of the way out and start learning about more. And I kind of suggest you guys do the same. It didn't take me long to look up these guys. You can find videos all over the place of them. You can find film all over the place on them, and it was fun. I mean, I feel like a at-home scout right now. You know what I mean? It was an interesting article. Definitely something I'm going to do more of, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Like I said, if there's any differences in opinions, any players you guys would rather have seen on there, which players you guys would have took out, why, things like that, please comment down below. Please don't forget to like the video. It really, really helps out Dynasty Owner. And until the next time, guys, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.